Welcome to the Extra Crispy, Extra Wet podcast, you guys. Season 5, episode 1. Can y'all believe we're on season 5?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Nah.
We are so excited about this because this is our first time on camera for our recorded podcast.
Hello,
So,
beautiful people.
drop a bomb.
Period.
All right, so y'all, we're gonna break it down for you guys. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. We call this the room.
Yeah.
Okay. We are the young aunties, some of the young aunties, the host of this podcast. And we are so glad to have y'all here. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. This is also our first time on YouTube. We are usually just on your major platforms for podcasts, and we are doing something different. We are moving forward and pushing on, and we appreciate y'all coming along the journey with us. Now, y'all might be wondering, what is a young auntie? Well, I'm gonna tell you. A young auntie is any woman doing her thing, living the best life in this world, doing all the regular, schmegular, degular things, working, side, hustling, chasing dreams, leading families, starting businesses, kicking ass, taking names, and trying not to get sexually assaulted while doing it all. Okay. What do we talk about? Everything. We talk about our favorite foods, the latest movies, celebrity news, politics, finances, your man and or woman and their relationships and that bitch that got you fucked up at work. We discussing it all, okay? And we are so glad to have y'all here. Now, we are an Atlanta-based podcast, which means we are in the South, and we consider it rude to walk in the room and not introduce ourselves. So we're going to start with that. Kay, kick us off.
What's going on, everybody? It's Auntie Kirby, aka Where is Kirby Ann, aka the West Side Wood Nymph, and I am checking in from the SWATs as usual.
Yes, and every team got to have a killer.
Hey, it's Aunt Kaylee, aka Killer Kaylee with no kills, aka the original Kaylee established in 1985. Hashtag stop gentrifying my name.
I'm going to stop gentrifying her name.
That's right.
All right, we want to play with the yo-yo.
Hey, this is Auntie Yolanda, aka Yo-Yo, aka Yoda. Definitely represented from up top, NYC, but I'm down in the A, so, fun and family. I'm in here.
Everybody need a New York nigga on their team, for real.
Hey.
But that's a big part of Atlanta. A lot of people from up top come down and end up in the A. So we're glad to have her here. And y'all know who I am. It's your favorite homegirl, Nick, from the old school I on you, where we put it on you. And we're going to get this thing going. Now, you probably noticed the title, Extra Crispy, Extra Wet. Yes, that is a hot wing reference, and we're serious about our wings down here in Atlanta. So we're going to get to our next segment, but we're going to tell y'all what is on our plate, what is our wing order of the day. Auntie Kaylee, what you eating on, girl?
I want something classic today. Just a traditional extra hot wing with a side of blue cheese, celery, carrots, just real clean, and the crinkle fries, extra Lowry's. Thank you. And then a little mixture of the mayonnaise and ketchup, because I'm a Black person who loves their mayonnaise. Unlike some people in Atlanta, clearly.
Okay. She keeping it extra hot, so you want a little spicy.
I do, always.
Okay. Auntie Yo-Yo.
Yeah.
What you got on your plate?
So y'all know I've been battling going back with the meats and whatnot. But I'm gonna go ahead and hail a good old chicken wing today, and I'm feeling a little habanero. Throwing a little habanero. Got to have my blue cheese. I can't do nothing else with that. I like a little spicy, and it definitely has to be a little crispy. I do like to have a little bit of extra habanero sauce on the side because, when I'm feeling a little wet coming along, dippage is important. Definitely a little side salad to follow through. And, because I'm in the A, I've gotten accustomed to a peach drink. So I'm going to have that on the side too.
Hey. Peach drink? Just gonna take that back to New York. They ain't gonna know what she's talking about.
They're like, huh?
What?
And it's with an A, not an I. Drank.
Yes, drink.
Yes, yes.
We don't do
I'm
peach
learning.
drink. We do
The
peach
best
drink.
teacher in the world out here, Kirby. Thank you so much.
Both
You
of
come
them.
down here and ask for a peach drink. We not gonna know what you're talking about.
No.
So you doing the habanero? Y'all big on the spice today? Okay, Auntie Kirby,
Come on.
you always got something good for us. What's your
Listen,
wing order of the day?
I actually did Watusi my butt over to JR Crickets last night, so I'm gonna tell y'all what my order was. It was a 20-piece, extra crispy, split, medium, and Sanchez. And those who are not familiar with JR Crickets, Sanchez is teriyaki with lemon pepper sprinkles. Okay. I didn't do my peach drink because I am also trying to keep it cute on the sugar. The wings was already teriyaki, and I got some celery. I ate all of that up, super duper crunchy. Keep it in water, by the way, y'all. When you take the celery home, that's a new trick that I learned. I feel real intelligent. So definitely drank that with some or ate it with some water. What else did I have on my plate last night? I also had some sliced nectarines because I was feeling fruity. And what else? I think that was about it. I also had it with a side of pride, success, and confidence.
Oh, best sides.
Okay.
That's
Now I gotta ask, did you get the chunky blue cheese
Oh, I thought that
that
was
JR
implied.
Crickets has?
I thought it was implied. I actually got 3 full medium-sized containers
Hey.
because see. One of the problems is people get their wings and don't get enough sauce. It takes more than that little itty bitty, what is it, that 2-ounce joint that people be giving you. So I always get the 4-ounce ones because see that chunky blue cheese at JR Crickets, you gotta scoop that wing in there. Whether you're a flat lover or whether you're a drum lover, it doesn't matter. You got to be able to get that thing out like it's a shovel. So I always get a little deep well, and if I'm feeling really freaky, I get the large one. The large one, that's a lot of blue cheese, y'all. It's gonna give you gas. So keep it cute.
Yeah, this is you're gonna have leftover blue cheese to be using for salads and other kind of stuff. But JR Cricket's blue cheese got that extra chunky, good blue cheese. So I'm with it. My wing order today, I have not had this in a long time, and that is some good barbecue wings.
You're right.
And I just want me some good barbecue wings with like a sweet barbecue sauce. With a little tang in it. It gets you right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That duck, get that duck working. Yeah.
Get that right here. And I want me a chunky blue cheese, and I want me a ranch because I like options. You know what I'm saying, for dipping. But that's what I want. And I don't want no sides. I just want the wings.
Okay.
And I want me a big old cup of ice cold water. Well, that's our wing orders of the day. The aunties is about to eat good, y'all. We're gonna move it right along to one of my favorite portions of the show. Auntie Jazzy's not here, but we always hold it down with Auntie of the Week. Auntie Kirby got us. Who is our Auntie of the Week?
This week, our Auntie of the Week, we're going to be honoring Miss LaTosha Brown. So LaTosha Brown is a co-founder of the voting rights group Black Voters Matter, which has been noted for its work in the 2017 U.S. Senate special election in Alabama and its influence during the 2020-2021 Georgia state elections. Shout out to Stacey Abrams. The voting rights and community empowerment organization strives to, quote, increase power in our communities by focusing on voter registration, independent election-related expenditures, and organizational development and training for other grassroots groups. BVM played a key role in the 2017 election of Doug Jones to the United States Senate from Alabama. Jones was the first Democrat to fill the seat since 1992, and Black voter turnout was especially notable in that election, with 98% of Black women casting votes for Jones. And a year later, the organization saw another victory. Brown and her team were credited with increasing Black voter turnout during the 2020-2021 Georgia state elections, including the pivotal United States Senate runoff election won by Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. So we want to give a big shout out, a big old hug, and a lot of auntie love to Ms. LaTosha Brown for being a co-founder of the voting rights group Black Voters Matter, making sure that Black votes are heard, seen, and understood. So congratulations to you, Auntie of the Week, LaTosha Brown.
LaTosha Brown, y'all. And we do aunties every week. We like to highlight women who have made history or are currently making history. We like to give them their flowers. So Auntie LaTosha Brown. If you want more information, y'all remember to check out our social media. Auntie Kirby does us so well with keeping up our social media, and she provides great information, photos, and things like that about Aunties of the Week as well there. So check us out at Extra Crispy, Extra Wet on Instagram. But y'all saw my girls pointing at the bottom of the screen like some professionals. Let me see it, ladies. Let me see it one more time. We've been waiting to do this, y'all. We've been waiting. We're excited.
Hey, let's go.
All right. That is Auntie of the Week. Moving on to what y'all came here for. That good old menu. We about to get into that meat and potatoes. We discuss hot topics all over the board, but we start with Atlanta. First, I'm coming to the girl from the SWATs, Auntie Kirby. A lot been going on in Atlanta since we took a couple weeks off. I need you to catch us up on a few of those things. I'm throwing it to you. We'll talk about it. What's going on in Atlanta?
Child, like people been sneaking, creeping, and doing the most in Atlanta. The kids ain't safe. The adults ain't safe. Ain't nothing safe out here no more. The first story that caught my eye was actually one from Channel 12 WSFA in Montgomery, Alabama. The fact that our news is getting to Alabama before it even gets
right.
It says that police find guns stashed behind candy bars at gas stations in Atlanta. Apparently, the police in Atlanta have reported that at least 7 separate incidences in 2022 where officers have recovered guns stashed inside gas stations and convenience stores. Quote, we often get consent to go inside and remove guns from behind candy bars and in coolers, areas where it's been stashed to protect a drug trade that is operating out of that particular space. Which, let me just pause for a second. I know many of you from Atlanta know that a lot of these gas stations are not owned by people from Atlanta. So this is just another reason why you probably should be considering rally around your people so that we can have our own gas stations, because the fact that there's drug trade going on in these gas stations and we know where those gas stations are probably located, I'm gonna let y'all catch that tease. Continuing. Because a drug trade is in your district is a ticking time bomb for violence, that is where we typically find and recover these, like I just said. According to Shearbomb, Atlanta officers recovered more than 1,200 guns. Now, y'all, we not even all the way 6 months into the year. They recovered 1,200 guns in 2022, an increase of 11% compared to 2021. The spokesperson for the Atlanta Police Department said these recoveries in gas stations are part of a proactive sweeps by K9 patrols. Oftentimes, members of the public will call the police, alerting them to potentially criminal activity happening at some of these gas stations and convenience stores. And upon arrival, the suspected criminals have typically dispersed. The police have repeatedly recovered firearms and drugs left behind. And let me just say, as an Atlanta native, like I said, the fact that these particular gas stations are typically in specific areas, i.e. ungentrified areas, I think that that's very interesting and very peculiar. And also the people that are behind the counters and the folks that own these places. Y'all, I don't know how y'all feel about this. Please feel free to share. But how would you feel if you walked into a gas station and you mind your business trying to get you some jujubes and maybe a blunt paper, and it's some cock and hammers and some steel behind some of the candy?
Auntie Kaylee, what you got?
I'm running and then I'm telling. I'm old for that. I am with that. For anyone who is not from Atlanta, these gas stations are unsafe. I always make sure now to pump my gas during daylight hours. I go to well-lit, well-known establishments. I usually try to keep it at a QT or BJ's where I have a membership, because people really be wilding out at gas stations. But also, is this like a conspiracy thing? Like, are the gas station owners in on it? Because how are you just stashing AKs or 9s or whatever, people are using these days behind the Snickers? I just want to know, So since they want to rack people up with them RICO charges, maybe there should be some charges coming down.
That part.
Ooh. Yo.
So what I think is kids carrying and given to kids like that, to logically put something behind some candy bars and chips, it's a bunch of kids doing it, right? And to your point, Auntie Kirby, like when you said, hey, is this a conspiracy? Are they into it? Talking about these gas station owners. First off, you see when they come in with bags of weed, so you got cameras when you want to. Number 2. And number 3, like if you leave in full ass pieces of steel, it's not, we're not seeing it. You know what I mean? I remember like growing up back up top and seeing people walk into, the bodegas with the damn pieces and then, tossing it and handing it right into, the counter, talking about put this behind the counter for me. So, this is nothing new. But to see this as like a big news article, yeah, what are y'all really doing? Where are we pulling this information from?
Well, I feel like I done missed my shot. I like to pay at the pump, but I'm about to start going in and I'm looking behind candy, chips, behind the cooler. I'm trying to come up on something because ammunition is expensive. I'm just y'all just leaving it out there.
Hey, it's abandoned property.
You know what I'm saying? Hungry, why wait? Grab a Snickers and the pistol behind it. Why not?
You might need it depending on where you pump your gas at. So.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, what? Behind the candy, the cool, what y'all doing? This also tells me, like you said, are y'all in on it? Because ain't nobody sweeping up under the shelves and pulling them out and cleaning.
Y'all get deliveries.
I'm just saying.
I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? If I rolled a little cool, y'all know the little coolers that be by the front. If I roll it to the side, it's gonna be an AK laying there up under it. Nobody knew. Like, come on now. But like you said, indicative of Atlanta. This is such an Atlanta story. They said that they noticed when they pull up, the police come to do their searches. Everybody disperses suddenly because they're all standing out. Loitering, we've all seen this. People loitering at gas stations. Like Auntie Kaylee said, this is why we go to major gas stations where they kind of crack down on stuff like that. A little bit harder to loiter at QT. There's a lot of law enforcement presence at gas stations like that, and they don't really allow that. Auntie Kirby has told y'all before about being carjacked at a gas station in Atlanta and attacked there. So this is a huge thing here. Anyway, I do know that the commissioner for DeKalb County, Lorraine Cochran Johnson, proposed legislation that will require anybody applying for a permit for a gas station in the city of Atlanta to have certain camera requirements, and they would have to hold the footage for at least 90 days at a time. Now, the thing about it, this only applies to new permits and doesn't impact current gas stations, so they kind of get grandfathered in. So some of those ones that are known for the problem aren't necessarily going to be required if this passes. But again, something for us to look at, citizens. We always encourage everyone to be involved in our local politics because these are the kind of things that we need to be pushing for across the board. So, all right, Auntie Kirby, what else you got for us in Atlanta?
I mean, while they're putting pistols behind the candy, they also taking money out the register. Apparently, Stonecrest Mayor pleads guilty to federal charges. Federal fraud charges, to be specific. A former Georgia mayor will serve nearly 5 years in federal prison after stealing nearly $925,000 in COVID relief funds that his city handed out. U.S. District Judge Thomas W. Thrash sentenced Stonecrest ex-mayor Jason Larry to 57 months in federal prison and ordered him to pay nearly $120,000 in restitution. So less than 10%? The 60-year-old Larry pleaded guilty in January to fraud and theft charges. The judge says Larry's actions were, quote, deplorable, and rejected a defense request for Larry to avoid prison time. Larry won't be required to report to prison until December 15th, giving him time for more cancer treatments.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Yo, what you got?
We need this energy with all these backward ass politicians. Like, find them, throw them into prison, Poor thing got cancer and got a short time.
He must got.
He ain't poor. He ain't poor no more.
That make you forget that Black people are not good at embezzling.
No.
Yeah, gotta be quicker than that.
And I'm not trying to make fun of this man's, situation. God bless him.
No, not at all.
A rough situation, but baby, like, you were stealing all the people's COVID money. What about the other COVID people that had cancer too? They can't get no coin. You could at least Robin Hood or Stonecrest and be like, money for everybody, but you just gonna take it and run off on the plug. Boy, Anyway,
Goodbye.
That's where I live. I could have used that. I could use a little piece, Larry. I mean, dang.
Extra crispy, extra wet.
Larry.
Could have used that.
I know. Oh, yeah. Come
listen,
on.
you got a kid.
Yeah.
Bro.
Invest it back into your community at least. I mean, I don't know. Almost $1 million he stole and $120,000 in restitution. I mean,
Where's the rest of that money?
Right.
in his pocket, in his bank account, with his family, at home, wherever. So,
All right, let's freeze your assets for owing $5,000. I need somebody to come get him.
Listen.
You're 60 years old.
yeah.
Why you out here stealing?
Because
Grow
he
up.
can.
Like literally grow up. How you look going to prison at 60?
Like him.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
Stonecrest went through so much. For those of y'all who don't know, Lithonia and Stonecrest is basically the same thing. They wanted to make a city of Stonecrest for so long, just for them to finally get it. And you come in here stealing almost a damn $1 million in COVID relief funds for what? What was you about to do? You are 60 years old.
he's going to a visa.
You got more years behind you than you do in front of you. And
Yeah.
you want to go waste them in prison.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I mean, less than 5 years, $800,000.
He gonna be right there in there with the people with the guns behind the chocolate bars. That old man to another old man. Kirby, you told me about this story and I couldn't believe it.
Oh, well, like I said, they taking, hiding guns behind candy. They taking money out the cash register, and then they pushing old people over in the process. A father was for hours in Atlanta street after falling from the MARTA bus, daughter says. April Jordan says her 72-year-old father is now confined to a Brady hospital bed after lying in the middle of a hot Atlanta street for 3 hours. Now, let me pause, y'all, for a second. Atlanta has had a heat wave for close to 2.5 weeks. There have been days when the temperature has reached as high as 99 with an index of 108, which means it feels like Arizona, but with steam because we have high humid. So to be laying out in the street and you are confined to a wheelchair already for 3 hours, and we got blacktop concrete, he probably got third-degree burns. There's all kinds of stuff that could have happened to him. She got a call from her father saying, "Can you call 911, April? I'm stuck out here." Jordan told Channel 2 Action News, one of their anchors, Ashley Lincoln, that she received a frantic call from her dad who fell after he fell out of a MARTA bus while in his wheelchair. She said that he was actually on his back. He was tired just about the entire time. She says he told her the MARTA driver lifted the ramp prematurely, causing him to roll out. She says the driver stayed with her father and called 911, but after several hours of waiting, first responders still had not shown up. Quote, "He calls me crying, saying that he's in the middle of the street in Atlanta." In the 911 call obtained from the City of Atlanta's police department, you can hear an Atlanta 911 dispatcher transfer the call to Grady. A Grady dispatcher is her getting information from the MARTA driver. The call ends with the dispatcher telling her help is on the way. Grady then released the following statement. Per our CAD system, after completion of the emergency medical dispatching questions, this call was coded as low level due to the patient's symptoms reported by the patient and bystanders. Dispatch made contact multiple times after the initial call and no changes in symptoms were noted. The call was later upgraded based on additional information and possible changes in the patient's symptoms. At that time, a unit was dispatched and was on the scene within minutes. Brady EMS arrived on scene, and Atlanta Fire and MARTA Police Department were on scene, and the patient was sitting in a wheelchair inside of the MARTA bus. The patient was transported to Grady per his request. And also in a statement, MARTA said bus communications received a call in reference to an injured customer at 8:39 p.m. on Friday, July 8th. A bus supervisor was immediately dispatched to the scene, and MARTA police were called to request assistance and contact EMS. And at 9 p.m., a bus supervisor asked for an ETA on the EMS and was advised that Grady's response times were delayed. Per bus communications, it took approximately 3.5 hours for EMS and the fire department to arrive. The call was finally cleared around 11:45 p.m. that night. Now, all of us have had grandparents or have grandparents. Now, if my daddy or one of my grandparents called me talking about they laid out in the middle of the street, number one, I got to take off from work because I'm coming to get you because I don't trust anybody else with you. But on top of that, MARTA might be a private organization, but MARTA gets money from the city of Atlanta in one way or the other, i.e., its citizens. So how dare you allow someone be improperly trained or be so out of whack to allow somebody to roll off or prematurely move the ramp, knowing full well that some type of incidents like this can happen. And as far as grading the EMS systems, someone's lying in the middle of the street. And as a person, I have been hit by a car before. I pay too much money in federal and state taxes and local taxes for y'all to be playing with my life like that. So shame on everybody across the board, MARTA, Grady, and the person who was operating that bus. How would y'all feel if something like this happened to you or one of your family members?
Auntie Kelly, 72-year-old man out there for 3 hours on the hot ground. What you think?
I mean, it's trifling. It's trifling. It's unfortunate. I feel sorry for that man and his family. That's traumatic. And I don't even feel safe in my car sometimes driving on these streets, let alone being laid out, splayed out, just my body on the streets in Atlanta. Absolutely not. Also, what happened to the wheelchair? I don't know if I missed that, but like, why was he in the street like that? I don't like, no one could sit the man up. Like, I don't know what was going on, but I mean, that's just crazy. Treat our elderly with respect and dignity, and I really do feel sorry for that man. And like I said, just because you are poor, you're old, or whatever, you still have the right to be treated with respect. So I feel sorry for that man.
I know sometimes they tell you not to move people when they fall or because it could cause more injury. However, totality of circumstances has to come into play as well. If they're on a burning hot surface, that we may not want to leave them there. Auntie Yo-Yo, thought 72-year-old man. I see you shaking your head like,
Bruh. So first off, like I used to take public transportation all the time. Up north, down here when I first moved to Atlanta. Nothing's more annoying than have to wait and have the wheelchair assistance go, because that takes a long time. So I understand from a passenger side, like how these drivers be rushing through that because they're on a time crunch. But that doesn't, excuse the behavior. Like, first, that process, once they lower it and they open up the flap to allow them to come in or to get off, that flap then closes. So you skipped a step somehow for that man to roll off the ramp and then proceed to fall off, the wheelchair to then roll onto the street. So, what the fuck? That's number one. Two, like you said, there are some precautions you have to take to, if anybody falls, don't want to disturb the neck. There could be an issue with the back, whatever the case may be. But it's hot as hell. At least try to tuck something under this man. And to that point with him being in a wheelchair, a lot of times, like, they don't take heed of those that have accessibility needs, because one thing that I know that they do is assume that these people are homeless, right? So they don't put that care onto them. A lot of them have to take public transportation just to get around, to stay cool, whatever the case may be. So they don't rush to assist these folks as though they're not citizens of Atlanta, and then for Grady to adjust like what their priorities are, it should not matter. Man falls off it, woman falls off it, whomever falls off of a wheelchair, they're already in a wheelchair, so there's something up. That should be a priority. Why is there a delay? So what if nothing has changed? If he didn't say, like, and vocalize that there's issues happening, get this man off the floor. Get this man off the floor.
Period.
I know. I'm sorry.
I said I hope he sues.
Both of them.
I'm sure somebody is gonna need some kind of answers. I mean, I definitely understand emergency response and how they have to break that stuff down. I know since COVID, there's been a shortage in emergency responders and medical workers all across the board. But if we are to the point where it's taking 3 hours for a 911 call to be responded to,
right,
that's really scary to me because I may make a call that's assessed as low, and if it's an emergency to you, you feel it's high. But in the meantime, that 3 hours, a lot could have happened. and could have caused further damage. I know the last they reported he was still in a hospital bed at Grady. Y'all, I'm not trying to. I speak. My mind is like a constant musical. Everything that's happening, and when they said that he rolled out, all I heard was "roll out" in my head, like the song. And I've been feeling bad ever since then, and I just want to share that with y'all because I think that's my shadow self coming through. Roll out like that. Okay, that had to be terrifying for people to see. Like this old man, I mean anybody, but especially an elderly person, because them elderly people falling is different than young people falling.
That's true.
Elderly people fall and everything go to hell. They breaking hips, legs, backs, necks,
They can't bounce back.
wrists, and they don't heal, the way people do when they're younger. So that has to be scary. 3 hours. I'm not sitting on the ground. I'm not walking outside barefoot on the asphalt. And I'm a country girl, and I grew up doing that. But the heat in Atlanta is not the same it has been in the past. They don't call it hot Atlanta for nothing. It is too hot for all of that. So I can't imagine laying on the hot street for 3 hours. No.
Well, and for them to blame him, or not blame him, but say that, oh, it wasn't a priority because, his symptoms never changed, or,
right.
See, I guess they were basically trying to say that, oh, it seemed like he was doing all right. So I'm supposed to assess my own medical need also,
right?
Because anything could happen. He could have had a heat stroke and not realize that it was about to happen. Anything could have happened, or he could have
bleeding
and not felt it. Yeah, you don't know. So just because, I can't, to expect someone to be able to diagnose themselves. I mean, I guess that was like, okay, if something happens, I just need to tell them I'm dying, or else they might not come.
Right, bitch, I fell. That's enough.
Help me.
Yeah, that's gonna be me. I'm putting on from now on. If I got the call, and when they get there, I'm gonna be like, I think I got better. I don't know, but let's go.
I'd have peed on myself.
I mean, this is just horrible. I couldn't imagine that being my parent or my grandparent or anything like that. But our hearts go out to that man, his family. We hope he's doing all right and doing better, and that there's no permanent damage. I really hope it's not. But if it is, or even if it isn't, I hope that they pursue whatever they can pursue to try to get this right. And I hope City of Atlanta is working on this. And y'all, if you want to pursue jobs in emergency response, please go do it, because we need good people on the job so that we cannot have situations like this, because we need help when we need help. Atlanta's too crazy to have delays in 911. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, Auntie Kirby. Speaking of the future and all of that, education is important here, but folks ain't getting paid. What's going on?
Yeah, apparently, summer instructional program teachers in Atlanta are participating in. They're saying that they have not gotten their coin. Maybe that was some of that COVID relief funds that our Mayor of Stonecrest, or previous Mayor of Stonecrest, stole. Or maybe he could have donated to the cause. It says here that teachers in a summer instructional program for hundreds of elementary age students told the news that they have not been paid, and they contend Atlanta Public Schools, a place I've matriculated through, is at least partly to blame. The STEM-focused program was managed by a nonprofit called Art Opportunity Knox, also known as AK, which used 3 APS facilities and says it received at least some of its funding from APS. Art Opportunity also claims an unidentified state agency was providing money, again, the Mayor of Stonecrest, and that both the school district and the state agency are holding up funding. Teachers just know they haven't been paid yet. A teacher or Channel 2 asked the teacher, Ronnie Amos, if Opportunity had given a date for payment for the last half of the month-long course, and they stated not at all. No such correspondence has taken place, echoed other teachers and additional colleagues like Julius Richards. They actually met with 2 teachers in front of Harper Archer Elementary School on Collier Drive. Definitely won't get paid over there. One of 3 APS schools used for the 4-week instructional program overseen by AK. And frustrated by no paycheck and insufficient answers from AK and APS, Amos told Channel 2 she called the school district. One person left me a message by the name of Joy Jordan and called them back and couldn't get a word out of that person yet. And Opportunity is definitely pointing the fingers elsewhere. AK emailed staff on July 1st, citing, quote, funding delays from APS, which I'm not going to lie to y'all, I had a scholarship stolen from me from APS, so I wouldn't be surprised if that money is gone. A July 8th email to staff cite, quote, the delay of funding from the state and school district. The state accounting office and school district notified us today that our funding is currently processing. The email did not identify the purported state agency involved in funding the summer program. Channel 2 also visited the address on Greenbrier Parkway, another place you're not going to get your money, listed on AK emails. We asked the person who opened the door of the large church at the location, opportunity knocks. Does that ring a bell? And the person that answered the door said, not over here. We emailed the nonprofit CEO, Chris Woods, twice Monday asking for specifics about funding sources, but Woods has not provided any information as of yet. One of the teachers said AK should have made sure its funding was secure, and especially dealing with APS, and I say that personally. This is a black and white situation, no gray area. You're supposed to pay people on time. That is it, either yes or no. Either you received funds or you did not. And if you didn't receive funds, then why would you have people work for you? Julius Richards' concern was simple. We want to get back, continue with the rest of our summer, and get some money to pay our bills. Channel 2 actually notified APS Monday morning that we received a teacher's complaint of non-payment. Tuesday, a district spokesman said he'd hope to have answers by the close of business that day. It took APS 55 hours to get a statement, but this is part of what came in just a few minutes ago. Quote, this vendor did not contact the district to express concerns about any financial challenges they were having. APS is not responsible for a vendor's inability to maintain its commitment to paying its employees on time. Ronnie Amos estimates that there are 50 to 60 teachers awaiting their checks. She estimates the total amount of dispute to be approximately $45,000 to $50,000. And let me just comment really quickly. As a product of APS, not by choice but by force, I would not be surprised if APS figured out some way, allegedly, to crunch whatever numbers they need to crunch and say, well, listen, there was some paperwork that you all missed, and we never confirmed said funding. But that's just alleged. That's just my theories, my hypothesis, my educated guess. And also, any organization that is willing to work with APS as it relates to funding is a foolish organization anyway. How would you all feel if your kids were in this type of program, or you sent your niece or nephew and all of a sudden teachers are not getting paid and possible programs are ending? What do you all make of this?
Auntie Yo-Yo?
First off, in this little stage that we're in, where people are trying to unionize and shit, this sounds like an issue that should be supported by a union. And I say that from having family members. 3 of my sisters work for New York City Board of Education. And I know that anytime they have an issue with pay, that is remedied very fast, because they do have a union representative that ensures things like this doesn't happen. From the time I moved down to Atlanta to now, Atlanta public schools have always been in the news since 07, and I'm sure prior to that, but since 07 and all that time in between when I moved back and came back. Yeah, what's going on? Pay these people. First of all, I ain't sending my kids nowhere that these teachers ain't getting paid, because if they don't get paid, there goes the curriculum. So
that part, I wouldn't suggest it, even if you're from Atlanta. Don't do it.
Auntie Kaylee?
I mean, there's a reason why Georgia's not ranked high in education. They don't care. There's a lot of people that the public school system failed, and it shows. All I gotta say is, if I was one of those teachers, you say, AK, you better run me my check before I get my AK. I'm not showing up. If I don't get paid
from behind the Snickers.
There you go. Let me run down to the gas station. I'll call your Greenbrier, because I'm sure one of the gas stations.
Cleveland Avenue, one of them.
Behind the orange pop. Let me go down there. And I'll be right back. Do you have my check now? Oh, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Behind the orange pop.
I'm not even trying to hate. Like, I love my city, like, with all my heart. But to Auntie Yo-Yo's point, I got to APS in 2000, and I had problems with the system every single year, whether it was students, teachers, programs, and summer programs that were associated with APS or had partnered with APS for some reason or another. And y'all have heard on seasons before, and if you haven't, please go back and listen. Auntie Kirby, me, I talk about it all the time. Black people do not know how to steal. So stop stealing. Stop stealing from each other, and stop stealing from these kids. Because what it ends up being is that it's a bunch of adults that don't know how to take care of business, and the children are the ones that suffer. Part of the reason why I didn't even get to go to my college of my choice is because I was promised a scholarship and given documentation for the first year of my scholarship to North Carolina A&T State University. Shout out to the Aggies, but ended up going to another university, which I met lots of wonderful people, but it was not my institution of choice because the adults were stealing. Y'all got sticky fingers in APS, and there's a spirit of theft that goes around snaking its way in that organization. Y'all need to figure it out before somebody figure it out for you.
Mm-hmm. Like the feds. I'll be up in prison with Larry.
Caught up in that cheating scandal. Don't get caught up on that embezzlement and stuff. Because all y'all going to do it for.
I'm the child of an educator who worked in APS. And my sister is currently an educator as well. Teachers don't make a lot, y'all, already. They're struggling as is to make a living, and a lot of them are single, and they have single income households, and some are parents, and it is really hard. Teachers try to work during the summer, a lot of them, to try to make extra money while they can, while school is out, and for them to work during that time and not get paid, that's rough. It's not right. And I think that this is definitely affecting the caliber of teachers that we are getting, and why we're not getting the kind of teachers that we want and need. All right. Moving forward, what else you got from Atlanta, Kirby? We had a lot going on.
Listen, folks is just reaching in areas where they're exposed to sticky fingers, all kinds of stuff. And this is a very unfortunate situation. And I think we're probably going to end up having a longer conversation about this on another podcast. But authorities say a man saw another man hitting a woman during an argument at a Georgia gas station. An investigator said the man went to help, but the other man shot him and he died. The man that tried to assist in this domestic violence situation, he died on the scene. Specific details. The DeKalb County Police are investigating a confrontation that ended in a deadly shooting at a Chevron gas station. And we talked about gas stations we go to. Chevron is not one of them for this exact reason. Hey, Costco, how you doing? The shooting happened at the Chevron off Candler Road and Misty Waters Drive. Doggone Candler Road. Police on the scene told Channel 2 Steve Gelback the victim was killed while trying to intervene in a couple's argument. And, you know, I've had experiences. I was in New Orleans with my ex one year, and we were walking back from the French Quarter back to the Moxie Hotel, and it was a group of friends that were walking together, and two of the people were a couple apparently, and they got into an argument. And we saw that they were yelling at each other, but okay, you know, we're minding our business. And this is after an accident that we had of our own. And I told my partner at the time, we're not helping nobody else because we're not going to get hurt and get caught up in other people's stuff. We're passing an intersection or like a going across a block, and suddenly we hear and it was a loud resounding, like you heard it through the alley. And as I turned around, I just saw this woman toppling over. So I knew immediately the man had either hit her in her jaw or directly in the side of her head. And he's like standing over her, cussing at her. And my partner got like tense. I'm like, we're not doing this. And it's really, really unfortunate that, and first of all, that domestic violence issues like this are happening, but even more unfortunate that if somebody tries to help or intervene, their life ends up potentially being on the line. Literally, me and my partner almost got killed trying to help somebody get out of an overturned car. And so it's just, you know, feel like you're between a rock and a hard place because you want to, you know, take care of your community. You want to see about people. You want to make sure folks are all right, but then potentially putting yourself in danger in the process. In this situation, unfortunately, this man died trying to defend a woman that he doesn't even know. You know, it's really, really scary out here. It is really, really scary out here. How do y'all feel about it?
Well, first off, I'm sick of punk asses hiding behind these fucking guns, right? You got enough in you. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, to sit there and get into fights with your significant others, with your physical hands. You know, you should be able to take on somebody else who's coming to stop you without having to pull out a fucking gun. That's the first part. Secondly, like to your point, Auntie Kirby, like you're stuck trying to see if you're going to, you know, intervene and be that person to, you know, help, because you don't know where that outcome is going to, you know, leave you. But, you know, unfortunately, this particular issue, the man is no longer here, because he wanted to step in and not allow somebody to beat on somebody or, put somebody else in danger. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of people hiding behind guns.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. No good deed goes unpunished. I've found myself saying that all this month. And it's sad. It's so sad. It's tragic. He really was trying to do the right thing, be a good Samaritan. For me, black men, get help, get mental health help, treat your anger issues, stop taking out your anger and beating up on women. Women also, stop goading these men, because there's a lot of women who think it's funny and cute to get up in a man's face, or they hit somebody because they're used to that. All of us, we need to do better. Everybody needs to keep their hands to themselves, but definitely as a man, stop it with the hitting on women and get the help that you need to treat those anger issues that you have, because you have a problem. And not only angry at her, now you over here and now you want it for murder.
Right.
There are free psychological services in most counties. Contact your county health department. Just because you don't have an insurance does not make an excuse to not make sure that your mental health is taken care of.
Yeah.
Heart goes out to this man who lost his life. He definitely, if he was the type of person to try to step in a situation like that, I imagine that he is likely to be a pretty decent individual, at least in life, if not a great person, because a lot of people do look the other way, and don't ever try to intervene. He tried to do the right thing. Unfortunately, he lost his life for it. That is so cowardly. You said you got hands for this woman, but you got to pull a gun out when a man stepped up to you.
Right.
What the fuck is that? This is again at gas stations, you guys. This is what a lot going on at the gas station. Like Auntie Kenzie said, that's why we try to stick to, well lit, a lot of witnesses around, a lot of protection,
Right.
major gas stations, because it does get really scary out here. This is what causes people not to want to intervene and not want to get involved. I know some people are not going to like this, but I just want y'all to think about that same apprehension that you have and that same danger. This is what law enforcement deals with every time they're called to the scene. So please just try to be a little bit more considerate and cooperative when officers arrive, because that's what they're afraid of. Walking up to a window, somebody pulling out a gun and shooting them or something, because it happens that fast. The same way happened to that guy. So please understand when they're asking you to stay still, and everybody's yelling, trying to tell them what happened because you're wanting to help. But just understand, like, safety is always going to be a huge thing. This is tragic. And this is another reason to stay out of these domestic situations, y'all. And women, if you're in it, make a plan to get out, because it's not going to get better. Okay? It's going to end one way if you don't. And that's going to be with you in the grave. Okay. Kirby, one more story I know you wanted to share with everyone to give us some information. And I think it's really important that we need this for the summer, especially.
For sure. Again, along the lines of protecting yourself, recently a pool of mosquitoes tested positive for West Nile virus in Southwest Atlanta, my side of town. Fulton County Board of Health confirmed that mosquitoes tested from Southwest Atlanta have come back positive for West Nile virus. Those of you that don't remember, I want to say it was maybe about 10, 15 years ago when that kind of first popped off. It might have been even earlier than that. The infected mosquitoes were detected in a trap at Brown Middle School near the southwest portion of the Atlanta Beltline. And although a single mosquito pool was found in Southwest Atlanta, only a single one tested positive. They're encouraging residents to all be vigilant in practicing personal protection and mosquito control methods. For me, it's not going the fuck outside. We've had a lot of rain in recent days, and that is true. It's been raining for about 20, 25 days straight here in Atlanta. And those warm temperatures coupled with containers that are holding rainwater create a perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes. The county said that they will continue to collect and test mosquitoes for the virus every year from July to October. And last week, those test results concluded that one pool tested positive again for that West Nile virus. So y'all be careful. West Nile virus can cause a whole lot of hemming and hawing and stuff inside your body. So on top of keeping yourself hydrated for this Atlanta heat for this summer, because we still got to get through August, on top of making sure that you stay strapped if you need to and go to gas stations that are lit, on top of making sure that if you're in a domestic situation that is not safe for you, that you remove yourself, also make sure you put on bug repellent, because these mosquitoes trying to kill your ass too.
Let me tell y'all something. Uh, so my mom lives out in Staten Island, and those mosquitoes. If you've never been to New York, much less to Staten Island has the worst, in my opinion, on the East Coast, issues with mosquitoes and West Nile. And growing up, we've always had to like double up on repellent. Because you just never know. And there's a lot of swamp-ish type of land up there, very hilly, so there's pockets all over the place. And we grew up around Stapleton, and right outside the house, right outside the projects, wherever you're at, there's always a pool of sitting water, and it's like a swarm of mosquitoes. So take it from anybody. Make sure you wear some bug repellent, because there's no joke behind that. Seriously.
I'm starting to think like I agree with you on the New York, because like y'all's animals, I don't know what's I slick think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was based on a true story, and it was really some overgrown ass turtles and a rat living in the sewer. Because like y'all rats look like possums.
Yeah,
and
those
like they're huge. I saw a video of people filming what I thought were very large squirrels. And I was like, that was badass squirrels, like big squirrels. And they were playing around a tree in a park, like in the day, middle of the day in the park. Like it was beautiful, like, oh, look at the little squirrels. They were rats.
Fucking rats, man.
They were rats. I was like, what is this? So yeah, like I can imagine the mosquitoes up there they probably look like hummingbirds or some shit. Like they probably are like small birds, little pterodactyls just going around terrorizing everybody. So like, yeah, y'all be careful. They say if you store like rainwater, which are good things, make sure you're using it and pouring it out immediately. And if you have flower pots and the little catcher at the bottom, flip them over, because they're coming for even the smallest little bit of standing water. So everybody be careful. If y'all see the truck spraying, that truck threw me off first time I ever saw it. I thought somebody was trying to kill us. If you see the truck coming through spraying, don't be alarmed. They're doing that to treat kill the mosquitoes.
I'm pretty sure it right now instant they got
y'all, you know, New York is just a different kind of place. All right, well, we're gonna get into the rest of the menu. That was the Atlanta portion. Kirby, thank you for that. Letting us know what's going on in the A. Moving on, in South Carolina, if y'all remember, attorney Alex Murda was indicted for the murders of his wife and son in 2021. If y'all don't remember, his wife Maggie, her name's really Margaret, Maggie, 52, and his son Paul, 22, were found shot to death at their family property, a little bit outside of Hilton Head. Alex Murdaugh actually called 911 himself, and told them he had just returned home and found their dead bodies laying there at the house. He's currently being held on $7 million bond for different crimes, alleged financial crimes. What kind of financial crimes? Glad you asked. Well, is in reference to his former housekeeper, y'all, who also died in 2018 at their property with a tragic slip and fall accident. And apparently he's trying to take the money from those settlements and stuff like that. So we have seen a alleged pattern of tragic deaths around Alex Murda. I don't want to be his friend. Everybody he know keep ending up dead. What do y'all think about the Murda? Seem like a lot of murders are happening around the Murda.
It's murder.
It's murder. Literally.
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. People have died, but I'm just saying, like, this story fascinates me on so many levels because I'm like, it's out of control. So, like, the story starts before these murders. It starts with like the son who's now deceased, allegedly by his own father now. But it started with him in a drunk boating accident where he killed one of his friends and then severely injured a couple of the other friends. The dad was doing some scammy stuff with that, trying to work out settlements. Then, as you mentioned, the housekeeper who had a slip and fall. Her family never got her life insurance. The dad was stealing money from his own law firm, which has been in their family for like generations upon generations. He took a hit out on himself. He took a hit out on himself because after the wife and the son was murdered, I guess his intent was to leave his 10 million life insurance policy to his one surviving son. Like the story is just like a horrible gift that keeps giving. Like, they need to make a movie about this because it's just like, you know, one of those situations where it's just like reality is crazier than like fiction could ever be. And I want to see it depicted because this family's off the chain.
This is
And
gonna be
also
a
the
bomb.
irony, yeah, your name can't be Murda and you out here committing murders just all over the place. Like, come on, man.
This is gonna be a bomb Netflix series or HBO Max series
I wanna see
for
it.
sure. Because this it's like you can't make this up. Like this really
Nah.
happened. This dude was whacking everybody, including himself. Like it's crazy. Anybody else had anything on this one before we move forward?
I'm really nervous because literally for Juneteenth, I was in Hilton Head, which is also a place that my grandparents used to vacation because if you were anything close to a yuppie in the South in the 90s, late 80s, you had some sort of timeshare either in South Carolina, Florida, or North Carolina. So the fact that I was literally there for Juneteenth, I am so glad. I'm so glad that I came back alive. Like, this is crazy. And it also just shows white male entitlement at its finest. Like, you're going to kill
Yep.
everybody and get away with it? Bitch,
Right.
please.
Right.
I can't. Yo, if you got something,
Milton been called 911 allegedly.
Hell nah.
Yeah, this
Hell nah.
dude is this dude crazy. Like I said, everybody dropping around him, and he out there sending out messages through his attorney to my friends and family. You killed your friends and family. What are you talking about?
You ain't got nobody left.
Oh,
They're gone.
nobody, baby.
He swears he's innocent. I guess the burden of proof is on the state. He's innocent until proven guilty, but
Generations and generations of that law firm and some generations of incest because that's what creates serious mental illness.
moving along. Kirby, I'm coming to you on this one. Subway eat fresh. A U.S. judge ruled that Subway can be sued over saying that their tuna is in fact 100% tuna. So I know you enjoy this delectable treat. The little $5 foot long has been a staple for a lot of us. It got a lot of us through college hunger and all that good stuff. But if you ordered the tuna, you didn't just eat tuna. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen things like this. We've seen like ads like for fast food or pizza places that say now using 100% beef, and you're like, well, what was y'all using before?
Kangaroo.
You know, so
Yeah.
is this gonna keep you from ordering the tuna melt down the Subway?
Well, let me just say this. I learned very quickly, even in college, that them $5 foot longs was $5 for a reason. Anything that run through you in 30 minutes, it's a problem. But I just want to pull a piece of information from the article here. It says that the lawsuit cites marine biologists who analyzed 20 samples of tuna offerings from 20 different Subway restaurants found, quote, no detectable tuna DNA sequences whatsoever in 19 of the 20 samples. But Amin said the samples did contain other types of animal DNA, such as from chicken and pork. And listen, I'm a Southerner. I love me a good piece of swine sometimes. I love a good rib, a little oink oink. And maybe this is why, you know, in college, the tuna sandwiches had a chokehold on me because it wasn't really tuna. It was
you got a pulled pork slide.
Basically.
sauce instead of mustard and extra mayo. You know, but I have long said that, you know, Jared did not lose all that weight eating them damn tuna subs. It's a lie. It's a whole lie. This bread, first of all, it smells strange. Anybody that's ever been in a home where fresh baked bread has been made knows that fresh baked bread do not smell like that. It's too sugary, number two. And then also, anything that comes prepackaged, and I learned this after working at the 100% beef people, anything that comes prepackaged is liable to be some space food. It's Tang, baby. It's not orange juice, okay? This is really unfortunate. This country is trying to kill us every potential way that it can. Hashtag capitalism. No matter what restaurant you go to, you got to check to see if something is 100% this, 100% that, organic. And people be getting mad at us, quote unquote, bougie people, us classist people that are like, no, I want the artisanal, show me what farm it came from energy. Mind you, the reason why y'all grandparents lived to be 90-something years old is because they wasn't eating trash. They was eating beef and pork and all kind of foolishness, smoking cigarettes and drinking whiskey every freaking morning, and managed to walk up out of here at 95 years old with most of their teeth left. And why was that? Because they was eating real food. Subway, I'm disappointed. I feel disrespected. I feel bamboozled, hoodwinked, ran amok. Plymouth Rock did not land by itself. It landed on fucking Subway.
And she want her money.
Subway.
Yeah, run me back because I needed that $5 back then. Just because I was carrying a coach first didn't mean I had money. Okay.
That part.
Well, we'll see what happens with this.
Well, that's just, I just want to say that's really fucked up that they snuck pork in there, because there are people who do not eat pork, who have religious, issue, or not issues, but, constraints or dietary restraints and all of that stuff. And you are over here sneaking giving people pork and chicken.
Come on. They think they eating tuna. Like you said, whole time, they got to pull a pork slider and didn't even know it. Like, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that. Yeah, that's crazy. Those people probably feel very violated.
I would imagine.
Right now, and I hope they get paid for their pain.
Seriously.
Auntie Kirby, I'm coming back to you again. I know you wanted to give this update as well as the West Nile. Some people think we're out of a pandemic, but not yet.
No, the pandemic is not ever going to be over. Let's be clear. They didn't release smallpox. They didn't release, I don't know, what's the iron lung disease? They didn't release tuberculosis, none of that type of shit. This is essentially a type of flu cold virus. We're going to be living with COVID until COVID probably destroys the earth. It says that BA.5 is actually on the rise, which is another new strain of COVID. And it is actually reported in a lot of major metro areas, including Atlanta and San Diego, that COVID cases have been on the rise for the past month or so, and specifically this past week. So y'all, you still got to wear your mask. You still got to be careful. Folks even be looking at you while you're outside at this point, feeling a way about you having a mask on. And I feel like it's not a problem. Like if you got a cold, if you got the flu, if you got the cootie, put a mask on.
That's right.
You ain't got to, what happened to, protecting your fellow neighbor, your fellow people? Like everybody is like really like hurt and jaded. Like, well, if I'm gonna die, you gonna die too. It's very much like killing energy out here. Murdering people, Subway murdering people, APS murdering folks' pockets. We can't get away from being killed. It's too much.
Auntie Coco not here to say it, so I guess we'll say it for her. Wear your mask. Period.
Yeah. Wrap it up. Strap it on. Keep your breath to yourself.
Keep your breath to yourself.
If I see you with a case on your phone, if I see you with a case on your phone and you ain't wearing a mask,
it's a wrap.
I understand you. I understand you. All right, moving right along. RIP to Ivana Trump, y'all. Ivana Trump.
Welcome Unlimited from Verizon at our best price ever. Just $30 per.
This is terrible. Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, okay. Ivana Trump has passed away at the age of 73 years old. She died at her Manhattan apartment. She was found unresponsive at the bottom of a set of stairs. The ME determined that the cause of death was blunt force trauma to her torso. As we talked about old people falling earlier, that man was 72. Just for comparison, Ivana was 73. She leaves behind 3 children and 10 grandchildren. Y'all know she is the first wife of Donald Trump, our former commander-in-chief.
Your former
celebrity in chief, as I like to call him. It's Ivana is one of my favorite first wives ever. For many reasons. Was anybody else familiar with her, or was she even on anybody's radar other than being Donald Trump's wife?
I mean, one of my favorite movies in the world is The First Wives Club with Bette Midler, Goldie Hawn. The moment in the movie where Ivana comes in, and I can't remember the epic line, but she basically said, "When you get divorced, don't."
I know it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you tell the people what's the line from First Wives Club.
First of all, let me say, Ivana was a businesswoman, and I think that's a lot of times people don't realize that she actually was running a lot of the Trump businesses when they were married, which led to their divorce because he didn't like her being a boss. He wanted her to be soft, cute, and in the background, and she was actually bossing up on people. She actually managed, in part of it, she did interior design for a lot of their properties, but she managed the Plaza Hotel, which to this day is still one of their biggest properties, and she did it back in the heyday. She had a clothing line, jewelry line, beauty products, fragrances. She has authored several books, one about divorce and how to move on after divorce, how to know if your man is cheating, giving practical advice to women about prenups and things like that, about divorce, the First Wives Club thing. One of the most iconic things. That's one of the times I think that's when I fell in love with her as a kid, watching that movie, because First Wives Club, for y'all who don't understand, is exactly what that is. A bunch of first wives getting together and celebrating and empowering each other. And she was a famous first wife. So she came to their party and they were like, Ivana, thank you so much for coming. And she was telling them, like, take care of yourself, have your self-esteem. That was a big thing she pushed. And she said, and like I said, don't get mad. Get everything. That was the line. And I think that has been like, it was a funny pun in the time, but it's like a life lesson. Don't get mad, get everything. When people do you wrong, when people shortchange you, when they doubt you, don't get mad, get everything. And she was wickedly funny, and I think that was just perfect for her. So of course, she a rich white woman, so we don't have that much in common. But that part of her and her sense of humor, her tenacity, her ability to move on after she got done wrong, because she got cheated on very publicly, and then he married the next woman. Being Ivana, when the world fuck with you, being Ivana. That's what I got.
Love it. Well, rest in peace, Ivana. I hope that nobody pushed her down them stairs, considering what's going on right now.
We need to make sure the murder house wasn't over there.
Where was Alex? Where was
Alex Murdaugh at the time of this? Y'all sure he was in his cell?
Hiding behind the snacks and chips.
When it comes to tripping falls.
Fuck her kids,
just
though.
Saying.
Fuck Ivana's kids, though. I do want to just go on the record and say that.
Well, here we are.
Yeah, they Donald's kids too.
You know where you.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. Moving on. Speaking of kids, put your shoes on challenge. Took a huge part of social media this last week. If y'all missed it, which I don't know how you could have, this is a challenge where family members, whether it be usually a parent, comes to their child and just suddenly says, "Hey, I need you to put your shoes on." And of course, kids are like, "For what?" "Put your shoes on. I'm about to go fight." Like if it was me, I would tell my child, "I'm about to go fight this lady." And she got a kid your age, and while I'm fighting her, if they try to jump in, I need you to fight them. Okay, come on. And they wait and see the children's reactions. Now, some kids was about it to the point I was a little nervous. Like, what the heck? They've been waiting. Yeah, the little girl with the bike.
He threw the shit out that bike.
One little boy tickled me because he got so excited. He was like, "I'm gonna get my fighting shoes." I was like, "He got fighting shoes?"
He said, "I'm a double punch."
One girl said, "This is my moment." I was like, "Damn, she been waiting on this moment." You had kids that started crying because they didn't want to fight.
Mommy,
they were scared. You had one little boy. He was with his dad. He was like, "No." And with that video game, there were so many hilarious reactions. What stood out to y'all? Do you think, because you had some critics that said this is traumatizing for the kids, which I get it, and that this isn't something you should play with, and if the kids in y'all life, what do you think their reactions would be? Do you think that they would be ready to go, or do you think it would be some hesitation? Yo, yeah.
Look, hey, I got a squad. Kirby, no.
It's the New York squad.
When they ready, shoes on, shoes off, it don't matter. They going outside with me. So they may, I may have like one or two that, be behind everybody, but they still coming regardless. So I'm here for it.
Kirby, what you got? They putting their shoes on or they crying?
Well, I only have two nieces. One of them, as soon as I said somebody wants to fight, would have went ahead and gathered their things because that's what she likes to do. That's her favorite pastime. My other one, and strangely enough, my other niece is in the Air Force. She'll be like, where are we? Like, is there an immediate threat, auntie? Like, I don't. If she's have a weapon, like she's gonna be investigating. Like, why are we? Shouldn't
Where's
we call
the logic?
Yeah, shouldn't we call the police? My oldest niece, though, oh my god, she done took one of her poles from working with somebody here. So, yeah,
about their life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, mine gonna be TTG. They trained to go. I'm like, put the shoes on. They be like, they on. Let's go. Like one of the little girls, her mom was like, get dressed. She was like, oh, I'm dressed. And she had like her scooter and she like threw it over her shoulder.
It's my weapon.
Yeah,
it's our weapon. It's gonna protect us. The whole scooter.
The whole way.
Some of these kids ain't playing. One boy, he like grabbed a mask and everything. I said, this boy about to pull out the Draco. This is they scary. But it was I can see where they say like this could be traumatizing, but not really. Not really. I think the word trauma is used like really loosely nowadays. Like everything is traumatizing. Like if you don't get your kids bubble gum in the checkout line, they're gonna be like, trauma is just childhood trauma. That's not what that is.
But also, you got to remember, you're raising somebody's adrenaline levels when you do stuff like that. So you definitely do want to be careful because even children, they got hormones and biological, and their nervous system reacts the same way that ours does. There has never been a time in my life, even when I was 6 years old, and Takesha York tried it during lunch, or when I was grown and that teenager tried me on Murda. Like, you feel your body physically get hot and get prepared to literally fight. And so I could see how some people would be like, yeah, this may not have been the greatest idea. And especially seeing some of them was crying for real. I was like, ooh, the baby really scared. Probably should have been that. Know your kids. Some of your kids take pranks. Okay.
Your kids gonna be just fine. And some of the, and I know this ain't right, but like I'll be side eyeing. I could like, so you gonna let me go fight by myself?
Yup.
And get beat up? Bet. Understood. Check. And I know everybody's not a fighter, but like have they back in some kind of way. Like, well, maybe we can talk about it, Mom. But maybe we can figure this out. Call the police, something. But just to sit there and start crying, see, that's why I don't like panickers. Y'all the type that when something pop off, you gonna get us killed because you don't know how to react. I'm gonna need y'all to start running drills with your kids.
Yeah.
Okay, of what to do in emergency situations. My family used to do that with us. We did fire drills and everything at home. Stop, drop, and roll. Let me see how you gonna do it if the fire get on you, because I don't need you panicking and don't know what to do when the time comes. So some of y'all need to run drills with your kids because it was pretty pitiful. And people don't know how they react in a emergency situation, which brings me to the next story. Because one of these people didn't know how to react. Anyway, I'm gonna take y'all to the Dollar General.
Oh, Jesus.
So much be happening in the Dollar General. That's why I don't go in there. The Dollar General employee shot a customer. We don't know, of course, we only see what was on video. All right, when the video came on, they were in the middle of exchanging a bunch of yo mamas between the two. Unclear who threw the first yo mama out, but we do know that they were saying, so your mama looks stupid. Hey, y'all know your mamas is fighting words. But we did see the customer was first to go behind the counter, grab the employee, drag her from behind. Can you demonstrate that again, Yo-Yo? How she
Absolutely.
grabbed her from behind, yes, the counter, and proceeded to hit her and punch her several times while cursing her out and assaulting her. The worker was able to get away and got back behind the counter, at which time she grabbed a firearm. Y'all saw that? Grabbed the firearm and came out and shot the customer. Now, I want to point out where I said emergency situations. Now, after that lady got away from you and went back behind the counter, that was when you should have quickly exited the premises, because you should have known that lady wasn't just going to stay behind the counter. But instead, the employee was still talking junk and slowly picking up debris from the ground. At that time, that is when the employee grabbed the weapon, came out, and shot the woman. The customer fell down, at which time the employee stood over her yelling, "Bitch, what you say?" and kept repeating, "Why did you do that to me? Why did you do that to me?" She just kept yelling that over and over. At the time, the cameraman was frantically telling his companion Wayne to grab the batteries so that they could go, and then he exited, and that's where the video ended. So this escalated very quickly from a verbal altercation to a physical altercation to a shooting. I don't know if y'all shop at Dollar General, but this could have happened in it could have
And
shopped at
don't.
any location. Kirby, I guess I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts on this situation? Who was it? Anybody right and anybody wrong?
I know that there is a proportion of percentage to handout of wrongness because nothing was right about the situation, but I am not going to speculate on that. I will say this though. I don't really like Charlamagne the God that much. I mean, I look up to him from a professional standpoint, but I think as a human being, he might be trash in real life, but that's alleged. But he said something really poignant many years ago, which is that if you slap somebody and they shoot you, you can't be mad. Which essentially means you don't know what people be going through or have been through. I'm a person that's been carjacked. I've been hit by a car. I've dealt with certain different types of abuse before in my life. So I have to tell people, like even when I was working at an electronics store, don't tap me from behind because I will swing on you. And it's not because I'm trying to. It is still a reaction that I am working on trying to deal with as far as having PTSD around having folks attack me and get into my physical space, which for me, I take personal. And the thing that I also like to help people understand is that some of us, like myself, take our lives very, very seriously. I don't care what reason that you might be doing it. If you cause me any type of bodily discomfort, be prepared to sign your death certificate. In this particular situation, I'm not condoning gun violence in any type of way. And the lady did not have to react with gun violence. She could have called the authorities or even just brandished the weapon at that person. But I also recognize in the heat of the moment and the way that the human mind works, you disrespected, you violated me. So now it's time for you to understand what's really going on out here. And I kind of almost identify with the lady standing over her. Why did you do that? You don't know what kind of day I've had. My mama could have just died. You don't know what was going on in my life. And then on top of that, people just have audacity. You're going to pull me from behind the counter and commence to whoop my ass and then linger? I got you. This reminds me of a story that I told earlier in the season when I was at Ponce City Market and a whole homeless black guy walked up to me and was talking about, "Hey, you got some change?" I was like, "Oh no, sir, I don't carry none." And he commenced to tap me on my shoulder twice, really hard, saying, "Oh yeah, you look like you ain't got no money." And I started hollering like that. It shook me because I'm just like, "You guys are about to attack me." And I had to find the episode where I talked about it, but essentially I ended up pepper spraying him. He threw a chair at me, and for once in my life, I felt like finally I was able to defend myself because I had been a victim in the carjacking. I got choked during the process. I've been victim of being hit by a car by somebody who was not driving properly at night. And so finally being able to defend myself, even though I think that there were other ways that she could have reacted, I'm kind of not mad at the lady at shooting that lady, because like, you don't play with people like that. You don't know this person. You don't know their background. You don't know what they're capable of. The same thing about my friends telling me about road rage. Sometimes you just got to let stuff go, because you do not know what somebody has in store for you. And that lady was laying on the ground. She was real cavalier. Your mama, yeah, I beat your ass, blah, blah. And when she shot you, you hollering, please stop. No, 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 no. Keep that same energy. KTSE. Keep that same energy.
Ooh, Auntie Kaylee, what you got?
Well, I mean, it's just wild. It's wild. This actually happened at an O'Reilly Auto Parts. So I was confused about the batteries too, because I was like, why are they really like so hung up on these batteries? The cameraman, I'm like, they talk about some energizers? No, I think they were talking about a car battery, which would make more sense. But I'm gonna say this: stop. Everything is not for the internet. Stop shooting stuff for the gram or for World Star or whatever. That situation did not have to escalate to that point. Maybe had you not been so busy with your getting your camera phone out, maybe you could have talked to the lady like, hey man, chill out. But I don't know, he could have ended up like the man at the gas station. You never know. But keep your hands to yourself, like I said earlier. Like Auntie Kirby said, yeah, you put your hands on somebody, you don't know what that response or reaction is going to be by that other person. I think it's unfortunate. I mean, over your mama? I mean, come on. And the lady who shot, she's 31. I'm sorry. No one can sit up here. Someone says, oh, your mama stupid. Like, you don't know Kathy. Like, so and also my mom is not like, if I'm like we don't have a crest to defend. So like if I end up shooting somebody because somebody called my mama fat and ugly, like she's gonna be like, why would you do that? Like my mom would have questions for me. So I mean, I don't know, do better. Black people, please do better.
Maybe
All of us. Keep your
APS.
hands to yourself.
Maybe they went to APS school, so they weren't educated enough to know that was not a reason worth
This
fighting.
happened in Dayton, so
Oh,
Okay,
this
and
is Ohio. Okay, I thought I was about to say Florida. I was about to say, oh, never mind.
you brought up another thing because the title of the story had Dollar General, but I saw a lot of comments that people were saying that actually looks like O'Reilly's.
it is O'Reilly's.
It was O'Reilly's. Okay. I didn't know because I don't know what the inside of it looked like, but they were saying it looked like O'Reilly's. So.
One time, I've been O'Reilly's maybe twice in my life.
O'Reilly's. The main question
what
is,
escalated in an O'Reilly's? Like
yeah, how did this even get to that point in an O'Reilly's? And the question is, did the gun come from behind the cooler, the candy, or the chips? Because we know that's where they're keeping them.
Behind the batteries.
Behind the batteries.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. Any more comments on this one?
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, that's the menu, you guys.
Yeah.
We got through the menu.
That was tasty.
It was real good. I appreciate all the good commentary. That was real juicy to open up the season. Well, we are at the bottom of the show, you guys. Right here is where we're going to teach y'all, or we're going to leave y'all with some good things. We want to tell you about our book of the month. Kirby, let them know what it is.
Absolutely. Why I Love Black Women by Michael Eric Dyson. He states, son and husband, soulmate and teacher, Michael Eric Dyson owes his success to the love and support of the Black women in his life. Yet too often, he warns, African-American women are the victims of negative stereotypes that dominate the larger culture and even many quarters of Black America. It's time to stop viewing Black women as scolding sapphires, welfare queens, professional prima donnas, and carping competitors with white women, and to start giving them the respect and love they deserve. Why I Love Black Women is an act of cultural restoration that rescues Black women. I ain't gonna necessarily say rescue, no disrespect, Mike Gary Dyson, but it helps to aid in keeping Black women from vicious rhetoric and irresponsible generalizations. It is a catalog of virtues and unapologetically cheerful view of Black women that rescues their strength and beauties from callous denial or cruel differences. And respectfully, I don't like that rescue part, but we'll come back to that. But thank you, Michael Eric Dyson. We appreciate you. Y'all can get your copy of Why I Love Black Women by Dr. Michael Eric Dyson on all platforms: Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Books a Million, maybe your grandma's garage. And make sure that you read it for the month or the rest of the month of July. That is our book of the month.
All right. And for those of y'all who are just joining us, we do encourage reading. So every month we have a book of the month. And if you read more, that's great. But at least if you read one book every month, you will have read at least 12 books in a year, which is good because we want to stimulate our minds and always keep it working. So Why I Love Black Women by Michael Eric Dyson. All right, it's time for our let goes. Sometimes you go get your food, you sit down, you excited to eat, you open it up, and your fries ain't even hot. You got to do a return. We like to call them let goes. All right, yo, I know you got to let go. What are you letting go this week?
Ooh, help me. Poor communication. I am letting that shit go 110%. Learn to communicate, sometimes what you may have to say may hurt someone and their feelings, and they'll have to deal with that, but you need to say it and offer clarity. So I'm letting go of folks that can't communicate properly.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically who are unable to communicate with the purpose and intent of understanding.
That part.
We call it effective communication. Okay.
You start reading more often, you might be able to develop that.
For those of y'all who don't know the communication process, the encoding, the decoding, I'm gonna break it down even simpler. Okay, effective communication happens when the sender sends information to the receiver. Right? The receiver translates the information to themselves, and they can give it, and you know that it's understood when they give it back to the sender in the same way that it was given to them. So the sender knows it was understood. That is effective communication. Okay.
That also encompasses active listening as well.
Come on.
Period. Or botache. I wish somebody would stand up in the sanctuary this evening.
Active listening, as in listening to understand, not listening to them to stop talking so you can respond.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, we let go all of it.
We letting go of poor communication and non-active listening. In addition to that, I want to let go of not staying in your lane. Staying in your lane is a very important thing. And I made a few notes. I just want to share them because it's very frustrating, whether it's in your personal life or your professional life, when people don't understand their lane and don't stay in it. Okay, so it's staying in your lane. The first important thing to do is know what your lane lines are. Know where they are. When you drive on the road, you see the white lines, the yellow lines. It shows you where you go, what your lane is, and the boundaries that you have. So we got to define the boundaries so that we know where the actual lanes are. Okay. So when people do that, stay in them. Also, look ahead. Don't look just directly in front of you. Look on down the road so you can see what's coming. So when you know when it's curves or detours or things like that. So again, you can stay in your motherfucking lane. All right. Because when you're only looking directly in front of you at what you want, you're not seeing the rest of the traffic and the rest of the road and how it's moving. So please look ahead. Number 3, observe all traffic lights and signs. Okay. Yellow light, you need to slow your ass down. Okay. Red light or stop sign means stop. Stop. Don't go that way. It's not a suggestion. If you see a yield sign, yield to the oncoming traffic. How does this apply to real life? Sometimes you got to stop. You got to yield to those who have more experience, more knowledge, and more ability than you. That's not your lane. And for those who have critiques of, well, I don't want to stay in my lane because I'll never get to move up. No, you stay in your lane until you're ready to transition. When you have outgrown that lane, that ain't your lane no more, and you will naturally move into another lane. But until then, please stay out folks' way. When you stay in your lane, won't be no traffic. Okay? I'm letting go of people not staying in their lane.
Okay.
All right. Well, that is our let. Anybody else have any let goes?
No, I'm in agreement. I'm touching and agreeing with everything that I'm hearing.
Yes.
Ooh, child, pork and action not staying in your lane. Those are definitely cold fries.
Yes. So that's what we're letting go. But we gonna always leave y'all with something good. When you go to the cookout or get your food, you have leftovers. You gotta wrap it up in that good old to-go box, that aluminum foil. We like to call it our to-go box. Take it home, put it in the refrigerator, eat off on it for a couple of days. Do your thing. To-go box. Kaylee, did you have one for us?
I do. I'm personally at a point where I'm trying to refocus, recalibrate, and just re-energize my mind. And so I actually downloaded an app that sends me affirmations throughout the day, and it's been lovely. And so I would like to share one of those. I am directing my energy at the things that matter most to me. And so that is kind of just where I've been at mentally, minding my business, staying in my lane, and also improving myself so I can be the best Kaylee, Auntie Kaylee, that I can be, so I can get back to the people, you know.
Yeah.
And not be a Larry.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Don't want to be a drain.
No.
Okay.
We receive it. We receive that. Thank you. All right. Auntie Yo-Yo, you have something in the to-go box?
This will be a quick one. I think take heed to the words that people say to you. You know, listen close, and listen to the intention behind them as well. That's all.
Amen.
I love that.
Receive. All right. Auntie Kirby, you I don't think you had anything in to-go box this week, or did you?
But you know what? I will add something to the class. There's nothing like a plate that's full.
Mm-hmm.
Into being properly affirmed and to listen to what people say to you. And Yo-Yo mentioned intention. Remember that the intentions behind behavior and words are typically indicative of the outcome.
Say it.
Boom. All right. And that is our to-go box, ladies. So y'all got some good stuff to take home, put in the Frigidaire, and eat on throughout the week. Don't say we ain't leave you with nothing. All right. Before we get out of here, Auntie Kirby, I'm gonna ask you for one more favor. If you can give everybody some social media shout outs, where they can find everybody, how they can communicate with us, and if they want to connect and come on the platform, what we would need from them. Let's go.
Absolutely. So if you want to get in contact with the Young Aunties Extra Crispy Extra Wet podcast overall, you can follow us on Instagram. It's on the ticker at the bottom at Extra Crispy Extra Wet. You can DM us, send us a smoke signal, fox carrier pigeon, whatever you need to communicate to us. We'll make sure that we respond. You also can email us at hello at extracrispyextrawet.com. All of that is spelled in standard American English. If you don't speak it, we probably don't want to talk to you anyway. You can follow Auntie Yo-Yo at Yo Indigo Art. It's on the screen there, YOINDIGOART on Instagram. Lovely visual expression, amazing artist. Has on some merchandise right now, y'all clothing. So definitely check her out. Get you a nice sweatshirt. Get it early because season, just like the summer came early, so shall the winter. You can follow Auntie Kaylee at Killer Kaylee. She's there on the bottom of the screen. KILLA_KAYL quadruple E. If you don't understand what that means, again, leave us alone. You can also catch up.
Do I? It's okay.
You can also catch up with Auntie Nick. Auntie Nick, would you like me to shout out your Instagram?
Sure, that's fine.
You can follow her at Nick Spitz, NICSPITZ. Okay, for the people, because the English language is a little bit buffed up. But that's neither here nor there. And again, if you want to be a guest If you would like to be on our Wednesday lives, catch us on Extra Wet Wednesdays every Wednesday. Our first Extra Wet Wednesday for season 5 is coming up this coming Wednesday. You can do that. And then obviously you're going to want to subscribe and hit the notification bell on YouTube if you are seeing this on YouTube as well. We're getting ready to build out our YouTube channel, bring you all visual content, things that you want to see. We're really, really excited. We have been constantly growing since we started this podcast in January 2021, and we're going to continue to elevate and expand and create exponential growth for ourselves individually and as a group. And we're so excited that you all have been along for this journey. I appreciate you all continuing to stay on the bus.
And that's it, everybody. Are all hearts and minds clear?
Yes, all hearts are clear.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for your amazing commentary. As always, y'all will find us. We'll be back here, same time, same place next week. See y'all on Extra Wet Wednesdays, where we're going to do it again with even more content and some more interaction. Y'all, thanks for going with us. We appreciate it. We don't say goodbye around here. We like to keep it straight, Atlanta, and we just say, all right, then, shawty.
Shawty.
Hey.